Welcome back to Grit Gym. Today we're going to talk about something that gets into everybody's way. The biggest thing that I hear getting in everybody's way on a regular basis, and we're gonna dig into it. We're gonna find some strategies around how to get over this, because one of the biggest things getting in people's way is the same reason that they don't show up to each one of their workouts. Hey, people don't show up to their workouts, and when people start showing up to stop showing up to their workouts every time that they set that time, that's when momentum starts to go in the other direction. We want to get momentum. Momentum in your mind is no different than momentum in physics. Momentum in physics, or inertia, or whatever you want to call it, is the same Newton's law, right? That an object in motion wants to stay in motion. When you are hitting all of your workouts, you are more likely to do all the other things in your life that are going to happen too. So when you wake up in the morning, sorry there, we got interrupted. Let me see. We actually have somebody that is supposed to be calling in right now that that we might have a little bit of trouble with. Let me pull this up, and we might go to something else here, but almost everybody is doing this. Almost everybody is not finding time. Okay, time is the biggest thing that everybody gets in everybody's way. Everybody says, I don't have the time. And I cannot tell you how much bullshit this really is. We're going to see if we can load this up. Some of you guys, I might not even post this here in a little bit if this is coming on. But the biggest thing that you get in your way about is time. And the more times that you switch out and you don't go for your workout, the more times it gets in your way and things don't go the way that you want and bad things happen. And let me see here, connect camera. But time is one of those big things that gets in everybody's way, and nobody seems to be able to figure out a way to get over it. So how do you get over time? You have to make it happen. Whatever, like get out, like if you have a day planner or something like that right now, get out and write that down. Write down what time you're going to work out, and no matter what happens, you're going to dig in and you're going to hit that time. That's when you are going to find time to work out. It's extremely important. We're supposed to have somebody on the call right now, and they're having technical difficulties. So I'm trying to do two things at once. It's not letting me connect for some reason. Using this is an interesting one, isn't it? All right, so if you, one of the main reasons that this is coming up, because the other day we were supposed to have basically I take anybody that wants an interview at Grit, I basically take it. So if you come in and you're like, man, I want a job at Grit Gym, I want to do an interview, will you allow me to come in, please? Like, yeah, I'm not going to miss the opportunity to shake hands with somebody who could be immensely talented, who could be a great asset, who really wants to do this, is really fired up. I'll give you a shot. So this kid, he jumps through all the hoops, and I make him jump through a hoop. I say, you have to send in a resume, it has to be under one page, and you have to send in a 30-second video to get the interview. Okay, that's the first thing. Basically, even if you don't do these things, they're probably still going to give you the interview, but I'm not going to give you the job. There's no way. Past that, if they don't show up in a certain, like, I tell them what to wear, and if they screw up any of that, it's like, well, you don't get the job either. So if you're not wearing a blue shirt and khakis or gray pants, and your shoes don't match your belt, then you're not getting the job. So you're out. But what this kid texts me, it's funny that he texted, but I'm fine with texting. He texts me, hey, I just got called into work, and I can't make it to my interview. Can we reschedule? What was the worst thing that kid said? He didn't make it a priority. Now, this might seem harsh, but the thing is that this kid didn't make it a priority. If it would have been the national championship, so this kid's a wrestler, or was a wrestler in college. If it would have been the national championship that he was wrestling for that night, I bet you he would have skipped work even if they told him to come in to go to the national championship. That's how he had to regard that interview. If you make the time as a priority, it will end up happening. Besides, you want to take time out of the equation. The reason that you end up bailing out on going to and is because you find other things that you're going to attach to. So if work gets in the way of getting to your workout, well, work became the priority over your workout. When actually, if you would have taken that hour to go get your workout in, you probably would have been better at all of the work. You probably would have had better production. You probably would have been better off just to go and do the work. Just to go and do the work. You probably would have been better to burn that hour, get to your workout, even if you condense your time down to 30 minutes of a workout. If you would have gone and burnt that hour, you could have made up that hour with the rest of the time that you had to work that day, but you needed to get in to do your workout first. Time is this thing that is and people get on my case about it. They're like, well, you don't have kids, you don't know. It's like, yeah, but I got a business, I'm a workaholic, I got a relationship, I'm not trying to defend myself here. You are just letting your kids get in your way. To like, think of what the implications of doing that to your kid, or of putting that on your kid. Now you've got a reason for resentment. You've gotten the blame game. You put the blame out there. You put the blame on your kids, and you didn't learn anything because you didn't acknowledge the error. You have to acknowledge the error. The error is that you're getting scared of not going in to get your workout in. You have to defy that. You have to defy the odds of you not going in. You have to make sure that you go in. And if you're using your kids as a reason to not go exercise, then what happens in 30 years when they grow up and you get to blame them for you being fat, you being out of shape, them having to take care of you health-wise? That's no good either. You don't want to do that. You want to be strong up until your last day. You don't want to have that happen. And I'm not trying to sound judgmental, even though that could have been taken so. But take time out of the equation and don't be blaming anybody else on that. If you blame other people, you are avoiding the acknowledgement of the error. And to avoid the acknowledgement of the error would be to relinquish the lesson. That error was a gift. You should look at it like that. You should look at an error as a gift. It's a great thing. You get to learn from that error. Okay, I didn't show up to my workout. What happened? How do I analyze this? How do I know that there's an error here. What could I have done better? What do I need to learn from this so that I can improve, so that I can keep pushing on? And then you learn as much as you possibly can from that error. And we just keep getting interrupted today. Sorry, guys. But I personally, the way that I see people get in their own way is time. One of the biggest ways I see people get in their own way is time. And it's usually their own fault. It's almost always. There are, even if it is that a time vampire, somebody else is getting in their way, sucking the time away from that person, it's still your fault, because you need to confront that person and say, hey, I have somewhere to be. I appreciate you, but I have somewhere to be. Whoa. What is going on? What is going on here? I got too much stuff. Is this fun, guys? So if you're allowing time to get in your way and you're blaming other people for it, like you're blaming your kids, you're blaming your work, you're blaming your spouse, you're blaming whatever it is, then you're ignoring the error that you yourself are making, and in so doing, you never get the lesson. And the lesson is the gold. The lesson is the everything. I used to do this too. I used to be like, oh, I'm too busy to go work out, and I'd only get in 3 workouts a week. No. Every day at 8:30 a.m., I'm going to work out. Every day at 8:30, I'm going to work out. I wake up at 5:45. I take about 15 to 30 minutes with a cup of coffee and to write down my goals, and then I'm into my writing, and then I'm into my studying, and then I'm into the gym. It's just, oh no. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Not you guys, but the person who's trying to come on the call right now, we're having some technical difficulties, so you guys are getting an impromptu talk. However, we're going straight out of the chapter on time, which is not just so symbolically the shortest chapter in the book on the cost of courage. It's only, this one says 11 pages long. I think it actually comes out to 12. But you want to take time out of the equation. Time is where fear festers. Time is where fear, let's call it a bacteria. Let's look at fear like it's a bacteria just growing and growing and growing inside your body. What does that bacteria need to be able to grow? What food is it going to thrive on? It's going that fear is going to thrive on the time that you allow it to have. The second that you take time out of this situation, you starve out that fear, and you're able to go do all of your other things. So if you set a time, 8:30 a.m., 3:30 in the afternoon, 5:30 at night, 6:30 at night is the night that you work, is the time that you work out. And if you're going to set a time to do it, you might as well do it every single day, because you know that it is important. There's an interesting thing. Every once in a while I listen to or things pop up on Facebook, a sales training or something like that, and it's always talking about how do you sell exercise, because they're targeting me because I have a gym, right? The thing is, nobody needs to be sold on exercise anymore. Everybody's bought in. Everybody's bought in. Everybody knows that they need exercise. And if you know that you need exercise and you know that it's one of the most important things in life, then you might as well just make it an everyday occurrence. And if you're going to make it an everyday occurrence, you might as well set the time that you're going to go in, and no matter what, you're going to hit that time. So I don't have time for, I've heard it. And the thing is, you have clothes on probably right now. You probably brushed your teeth today. I'm gonna take a wild guess that you've done some type of grooming to your hair, maybe your face if you're like me. You've done these things regardless of if you had time or not. If you woke up an hour late and you're an hour late getting to work and you know you're gonna be in trouble, I bet you still took time to put on clothes, and I bet you took time to brush your teeth, because these were a priority. You have to make exercise that big of a priority in your life too, because if it's that big of a deal, if it's one of the greatest things that you could possibly do for yourself, then you have to do it. And as far as time vampires go, I know I got into it a little bit, but that's kind of a communication thing, and I'm not going to take I take stabs at trying to conquer this on a pretty regular basis. I cannot say that I've come up with a very good system for how to deal with the time vampire, because they're highly skilled at sucking it out of you, But I do think that the faster that you get through to a time vampire, the better. Because some people are just asking for your time, and asking for your attention, and you have to give it. And to you, you're thinking, I have to give them this amount of time, but you really don't. The best thing that you can do on a certain level is to serve you. Then if the best thing that you can do on a certain level is to serve you, then you have to manage your own time, or you have to control your own time. And part of controlling your own time is being ruthless about the time that you do have. And that's where clarity comes in, which is so hard to do. It's so hard to do. I have such a tough time with it. But I do find that I understand, I want to be here, I wish I had more, I wish I could stay longer, but I have to do this other stuff first. I think people are fairly understanding about that most of the time. Now, sometimes people want to go the victim route, and to that, like as if you don't, like they want to feel sorry for you, or they want to feel sorry for themselves for you not having time for them. But you had time for them. You gave them time. That's not a place to go to guilt. That's what I usually do. Is I usually feel guilty about it, which is really silly. That's just that fear of not being enough. But adding time feeds fear. It feeds that guilt. It feeds the anger. It feeds the anxiety. It feeds the, oh my God, I don't know if I have time to show up anymore. And all of a sudden you're talking yourself out of it, and then you spend an hour being pissed at yourself that you didn't go and get your workout in, when you could have burnt that hour actually burning calories doing things at the gym. But if we take the equation for time equals distance divided by speed. So really, you just got to get yourself moving as fast as you possibly can, and the distance will take care of itself. So if we really want to control time, time equals distance divided by speed. If we really want to control time, we've got to move. Time equals distance divided by speed. So if we want to control time, we have to move as fast as we possibly can to make sure that we have the most time. What time is it right now? We got about 10 minutes left. You guys, if you guys have time, if you guys have time, that's interesting. If you guys can, please take the time to share this out. Even though this probably is one of our best ever. I know you're going to think this is the best ever video that we've ever done, because I'm completely winging it. I haven't done this where I didn't know what I was going to talk about until I hit the clock, since one of the very first ones. But The longer you take thinking about it, waiting, second guessing, the more energy you are robbing of yourself. Okay, so if you want to manage your energy, you want to manage your time, you're just going to end up robbing yourself of more energy. However, if you control time by moving as fast as you possibly can, you get momentum going, you get inertia going, and you then can do more of the things that you wanted to do in the first place. Remember, your body only gets better at something, whatever you give it the most of. If you spend all your time sitting down at a desk, your body's going to become better at sitting down at a desk. If you exercise, your body's going to get better at exercise. Whatever you do, your body's going to get better at that thing. Your body never gets worse at anything. This is a big fallacy that it's a myth. It's a misunderstanding. Your body is constantly adapting to something new. It's constantly getting better at whatever you are giving it, whatever you are imposing upon it. If you sit at a desk, your body gets better at sitting. If you run, your body gets better at running. If you lift, your body gets better at lifting. If you lift poorly, your body gets better at lifting poorly. The nice thing is that we have a built-in system that says when we are being stupid. Okay? This is called pain. Our pain tells us that we're being dumb, and we have to listen to that. But the 15 minutes before you walk out the door to get to your workout, you're going to find hundreds of other things maybe that you can go do. You know, the laundry isn't done, the dishes aren't done, I got this whole stack of work to do. Could be anything. You can come up with hundreds and hundreds of different reasons. Now, the way that you have to manage that fear is that you get your ass out the door. No, the dishes can wait till I'm back. All of this stuff, the laundry can sit there. This is the most important thing that I have to do today. I'm out the door, I'm to my workout. The faster that you can make that happen, the better. Your body gets better at whatever you're giving it. And if you're giving it fear, what are you going to get more of? More fear. Either you're going to learn to manage your fear, or your fear is going to manage you. And if you add time to that, then you're just going to keep on getting worse. Or then you're just worse. You're going to get better at being afraid. If you start managing it, you're going to get better at managing it. So how do you manage it? You ask yourself the two questions. Am I going to be all in today? You can actually read it on the sign right behind me. Am I going to be all in today, or am I going to be afraid that I'm not enough to... I think you guys can actually see this. Can you? Let me know if you can in the comments section, but it might be backwards because I think it's mirrored. But, ooh, does this work? All right, so you've got, am I going to be all in today, or am I going to be afraid that I'm not enough today? Now, if you look at this, we've got, am I going to be afraid that I'm not enough today? Fear gets looked at as this like really awful thing. Like, I don't look at fear as like a super negative as much as most people do. I think fear is a call to action. Like, and if fear is a call to action, I think this is very courageous. It's extremely courageous because you have to face that fear. So if we look at it, if we get anxiety, we get anger, we get stressed, we feel like we're losing confidence, then we're losing self-esteem, we're low on these things. Well, that's a call to action. That's like, hey, dummy, wake up. You don't have to feel this way. You don't have to think this way. You know, what are you going to do about it? You know, but on the other side, it can also be an alert that you are not present, that you're not right here, right now, and in this moment, you're not feeling like you're enough. And it also can be the victim cycle or the addictive cycle. This is the plight of the victim, right? And victims love to have plights. That's what they love to do. They love to stick in that plight. All of us have a tendency to go to this victim bullshit because that's what society teaches. Society teaches you how to be more of a wimp, really. So you've got this, and now the thing is that you can negotiate these things. You can negotiate this. So you feel that anxiety, you feel that worry, that anger, that stress, that whatever it is, that lack of confidence. You can ask yourself, is this reasonable or unreasonable? Is it reasonable that my best is not enough? No, that's unreasonable. It's always going to be unreasonable. But the thing is, if you just go with your subconscious where you're not really thinking, your subconscious sometimes, most of the time, is going to find this reasonable. And then you're going to get the lose-lose, the victim attitude, the martyr, the depressive, the passive, the worry, the loss. Even in victory, you still lose. You get the cheap drama that nobody wants. You get the pessimism. You get you're very unhappy, negative, weak, all of the bullshit. And this is extremely common, and you end up missing out on life. Now, and then you just get more of it, and you get more of it, and you get more of it, okay? If you guys watched our video on emotional eating. This is basically what happens. You try to reach for something to make yourself feel better for 15 minutes. You feel better for 15 minutes, but when you're done running, you're still back where you started. Now, if we're over on this side, this is fun. If we're over on this side, if we're talking about, wow, does that work? I don't know if that works, but you guys might be getting sick from my camera angles, but it's like we're in the Blair Witch Project. Okay, so are you going to be all in with yourself today? So are you going to be all in today? Are you going to do your absolute gut-wrenching best today? If we can refocus, so we're gonna negotiate. Is this fear unreasonable or reasonable? If if you find it reasonable that you are not enough, you're just going to get more BS. If you find it unreasonable, then refocus. Okay, so I know that I'm enough. Then do that. If you know that you're enough to do your absolute gut-wrenching best, then go do your absolute gut-wrenching best. And when you do that, you become your own hero. You love yourself here in this present moment, and that's a win-win. Like, no matter what, you're going to win, and the other party is going to win. That's the power, the joy, the love, the happiness, peace. That's the excitement about living life. It's very enlightening. It's where the optimist and the realist can work together. It's gratitude. Resolve. It's the tough stuff. You get the confidence and the self-esteem naturally over on this side. But if you give away all your power to, I don't have time, what happens? You don't actually ever end up going and doing the thing that you wanted to do in the first place. So I don't have time is the biggest lie that the world tells itself. You do have time as long as you make it a priority, because you have time to put on clothes, you have time to brush your teeth, you have time to go get your workout in. Go burn that 60 minutes for that hour, and you will increase your productivity that will make up for the hour that you did burn. Okay, you'll wake up, you'll get focused, you'll get more energy, you'll have more energy, your longevity will be better throughout the day and throughout your life. Most of us can't, it's hard to think logically in the moment to be able to do this, but if you do it, then good things will happen. Yeah. And if you blame others, so if you blame your kids or you blame anybody, your spouse, your family, your job, whatever it is, for the things, for you not living your dream, for you not writing your book or going on your dream vacation or starting the business or getting the body that you want, whatever it is, then now you've used them as a source of resentment. You've used them as a way to negate what you wanted to have. So let's say that my mom tried to say, she didn't. She's never done this. I'm not saying this. But if she were to come to me and say, I didn't write that book because all you kids were so little and you needed so much attention, I'd be like, Mom, you should have just locked us. I would have been happy to sit in a room for an hour while she typed away when I was 5 years old. Or I would have been happy for her to not have come to one of my baseball games so that she had time to go and write. I would hate to be the source of that for her. So don't put the blame on somebody else, because when you put the blame on somebody else, then you negate the responsibility for the error that did happen, and that's where the lesson is. That's where the good stuff is. You want that. You want the error. You want to acknowledge the error, because then you can learn from the error. But anyway, guys, if you have any questions or you want to talk to me about it, I actually really like this subject, but it's kind of all over because I didn't really have a plan for it. But because today was very impromptu. I'll see you guys soon. We're gonna cut this one. Hey, look at that! I almost did. I made it made it before 1. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. Take time out of the scenario. Go as fast as you possibly can.